There we go. So, as I said, yeah, welcome to today. Introduction to digital marketing. It's all very exciting stuff. So, you're all probably sitting there thinking about if social media will benefit your charity. The simple answer is yes. If done correctly, social media can help build your brand to a globally supported charity. This is the benefit of increasing the awareness of your brand, making you recognizable and more trustworthy. This will change your followers to loyal followers, which ideally is what you want. They're the people who are sharing your content, getting involved, and engaging with your brand. And if your main objective is to drive traffic to your website, then using social media for advertising can help your charity's exposure and in turn drive traffic to your site. By increasing your audience reach, you will gain new supporters and continue to grow as a charity. Social media is also considered instant advertising. With a high turnover of content and spending quite a bit of time engaging with your audiences, this is a huge opportunity to talk about your work and show the good you're doing. People love reading about success stories because it invokes emotion within them, and engaging with someone who is very down to earth, professional, and welcoming will make all the difference to your charity's customer service. There are a lot of benefits to utilizing what social media has to offer, but importantly, it helps you keep up to date on the latest trends and industry news, which will propel innovation within your charity, like new campaigns and ways to make money, or even breaking the internet and starting a new trend. And challenge. Challenge is always a great fun one for people to get involved with. The internet is limitless, as is your imagination. So I implore you to start. So, where do we start? If we plan things and do them as processes. So, first place to start is with setting your objectives, moving on to defining your key performance indicators, designing your tactics, executing your campaign, measuring your outcome, and then optimizing your results. So let's start in order with defining your goals and setting objectives. Moving forward without doing this step is pointless because without goals and targets, you'll never progress. You must have your goals set out clearly so your whole team are aware of what your end aim is. So you start with the simple question of what do we want to accomplish? As a charity, what do we want to give to the public? What would you like to see charities doing to make a difference? Note that everything you can think of down so you can develop these ideas. It's best to start with a page full of ideas and then whittle away to the most important and develop that goal instead of having one or few ideas you're not really that keen on, and it just ends up going, you just end up concentrating on the wrong things. When setting out your goals, you want to make them as specific as possible so you have a clear direction you want to take. This could be to do with the growth of your followers, the increase of acquiring donations, or driving traffic to your website. A good example of a specific goal is saying you want to increase donations by 25% over the next 6 months. My favorite method to use is the S.M.A.R.T strategy. And this can be applied to so many things, but when setting out your goals, you should definitely use it to ensure that they're going to be achievable. So get SMART goals by making them specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So let's start with specific. What do I want to accomplish? What is this? Why is this goal important? Who is involved? Where is it located? Which resources or limits are involved? It wouldn't be enough to say we want to raise more money than last year, because who doesn't? It's not specific enough for you to work to, and more money than last year could be £1 more. A specific goal would be, like I said, raise 20% more in total donations compared to last year over the next 12 months. You now have a clear understanding of how much effort you're going to have to put into achieving a 20% increase on donations. Now looking at measurable. This should include questions like how much, how many, and how will I know when it's accomplished? Using the previous example, you might measure your goal by determining that each month you need at least a 1.6% increase in donations to equate to 20% by the end of the year. Or you could keep track and measure your progress every quarter, so every 3 months, to ensure that you are on track to completion. Achievable. Your goals really need to be realistic and attainable to be successful. It's very easy writing goals. They should stretch your abilities but still remain doable. There's no point having goals your team can't achieve. So you should be asking yourself, how can I accomplish this goal? And how realistic is the goal based on other constraints such as financial factors, time, resources, and so on. Going back to our example again, you might ask yourself whether a 20% increase in donations is realistic based on your existing experience. Are the necessary resources available to you? Can you afford more marketing to encourage engagement with your charity? Is the current climate going to affect your goal? And if so, what can you do differently? Moving on to realistic goals. This is ensuring that your goal matters to you and that it aligns with other goals that you have been set. It's important we have support and assistance when achieving our goals. So a healthy and capable team is a must. But it's also important that you remain in control of your own goals. Make sure your plans drive everyone in the team forward, but you are still responsible for achieving your own personal goals. Having goals in life is what propels us forward, helps us achieve things that we wouldn't have achieved if we hadn't have had a set goal, an aim, or objective, and it inspires innovation. A relevant goal would include, does this seem worthwhile? Is this the right time? Does this match our efforts and needs? Am I the right person to reach this goal? Is it applicable in the current socio-economic environment? 2020 has been a really weird year so far and has had a huge impact on the way business is conducted. So keeping up to date with the current social and economic environment is really important, as it will determine change within people's behaviours. This year, although many people have lost their jobs, been furloughed, had to take on a second job, been unable to see loved ones, the list goes on. But yet the charitable activities of people has increased. We saw the outstanding efforts of Captain Sir Thomas More set a goal to raise £1,000 and instead raised over £32 million at the height of lockdown. People's incomes grew less, and yet their donating habits were not affected. Back to the example, are you the right person for the job? Is there enough time to plan extra fundraising events? And lastly, looking at the time-bound element. Every goal needs a target date, a deadline to focus on, and something to journey towards. This part of the SMART goal helps to prevent everyday tasks from taking priority over your long-term goals. You'll want to ask yourself when. When can I do, what can I do 6 months from now? What can I do 6 weeks from now? And what can I do today? It's necessary to ensure your goals have a time constraint to avoid pushing it back and making it next month's goal instead, or having too many goals that they all end up taking a longer time to achieve. It's important to give yourself a realistic time frame for accomplishing the smaller goals that are necessary to achieving your final objective. SMART is an effective tool that provides the clarity, motivation, and focus you need to achieve your goals, especially as a team, to ensure everyone knows what they must do to achieve the goals set out. It can improve your ability to reach them by encouraging you to define your objectives and set a completion date. It is imperative that you and your team commit to achieving these goals to the best of your abilities. Obviously, life isn't linear, as we have been wonderfully shown this year, and so you may come up against challenges that will have to be overcome. But by having a clear objective and time frame, it makes it so much easier to remember what is important and finding a quick solution to anything unexpected that arises. Your goals aren't just for you and your team. You should make your goals public and set a deadline so your followers and community know that you are working hard on a new campaign or project. This will increase their trust in you as a charity and will support your organization's beliefs. It also shows that you are working really hard to make a change and difference to the issue your charity is raising money for. And once you achieve your goals, recognize and celebrate your successes publicly. If people don't know what goes on behind the screens and the scenes and the commitment of your team, then it takes away personality from your brand. Charities are run by people for the benefit of other people. Show you care by letting them know what work you're doing and what you have already achieved. So, defining your objectives goes hand in hand with setting key performance indicators or KPIs. If you've never heard of them before, their purpose is to help you understand the performance of your organization. It's likely you will already have KPIs, but are you using them correctly? Why do we need KPIs? Why use them? And why are KPIs important? Key performance indicators are quantifiable measurements used to focus attention on the metrics most important to meet your business goals. There are several benefits, like helping provide direction and for your team to understand how progress will be tracked and measured, and it's crucial to achieving your goals and objectives. The benefits of KPIs is to monitor the organization's health through measuring what you want to move, so you can concentrate your energy where you want to change. Oh God, pop-ups. Measure progress over time, like setting targets every quarter and using KPIs weekly to measure your progress to these goals. Analyze patterns over time. I would suggest quarter to quarter. That way you'll begin to see a pattern map out. Making adjustments and staying on track, as well as your results, you will need leading KPIs to help you predict what will happen in the future. Obviously, they don't give you the power to see the future, but they help with prediction. And solving problems and tackling opportunities, KPIs can help you keep focused on the slump and slow days. Your KPIs should be simple, easy to understand, and easy to measure. I suggest again using the S.M.A.R.T strategy from the goal setting when coming up with your KPIs to ensure they are practical, measurable, clear, achievable, and provide you with direction. You want to ask yourself and your team, is this KPI specific enough? Can it be measured? Can employees obtain this? How relevant is it to the wider business objective? And when is it due to be carried out and delivered? This can be done solo or as a team, but after your KPIs have been identified, they should be distributed, let me get my words out, distributed throughout your organization so everyone has a clear understanding of of what the organization wants to achieve and the path the organization wants to take in the future. A quote to take with you is, the trouble with not having a goal is that you can spend your life running up and down the field and never score. Simply put, if you don't have an aim, then everything you do, regardless if it is successful or not, will be done blindly and without focus. This generally means that you'll end up working harder and not seeing the results you're working hard for. This is when things become demoralizing and you end up facing challenges you struggle to solve. So you must have goals and KPIs for your employees to know what they have to do to elevate the organization and to build the brand. And of course, the deadline of these tasks. Moving on to design tactics.
Hi, Kelly. We have one question. Is it all right if I ask you the question?
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah. So Liz had asked, what about more charities when there's only one admin person? How do they look after social media in a small charity?
How do they look after social media with only one person, or is it to do with KPIs and goals?
No, just about what about small charities where there's only one admin person looking after the social media?
I'll be going across it a bit later on and explaining it a bit more detail, but there are a lot of free tools, scheduling tools, that's available to you that make life so much easier. You can schedule your whole week in a day, and everything can kind of get posted without you needing to have to do it, basically. But like I said, I'll go across that a bit later.
Sorry, please. My
No
name is
worries.
Yeah. Sorry, my name is China. Please, if I may suggest to just finish up with the program and then take questions afterwards for us to flow with our understanding. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to be going over the audience bit now, and then we'll be looking at the social media channels, who uses those channels, and how to manage them. in a little bit. So in this section, it involves several planning and design elements that without will mean your work and content won't be direct and seen by the people that you want to see it. This includes targeting a specific audience, segmentation of your audience, how to reach your target audience, branding and positioning of your charity, choosing the right marketing channels for your audience, and what makes the best content and when to post, and creating your content. There's a lot to cover, but hopefully after you'll find it easier to complete these tasks. So let's start with your audience. Who is your target audience? Do you know? As a charity, you want to try and target the majority of people, but one post won't captivate everyone's attention the same. Everyone has different interests, different responses to emotion, different buying and spending habits, levels of responsibilities, and none of them will share the same amount of free time. This is where you need to identify their needs and motivations. If you don't have a target audience, then you will not have a very effective fundraising strategy. There are over 7 billion people on this planet, and trying to engage with all of them is going to be impossible. You've got to locate and define your audience, the people who want to support you. When you do this, it will be much easier to connect meaningfully with the people who stand behind your cause and who make the most of your fundraising efforts. You need to prioritize your audiences and focus on targeting your primary audience. These are people you need to support, you need the support of if you are going to reach your goals. They'll be the ones who most of your marketing and fundraising efforts should be directed at. And that's not to say you only focus on your primary audiences, but you should target them around 70% of the time. If you don't know who your primary audience is, I suggest looking at your current customer database or CRM to see who is currently engaging with your charity and create a fictionalized persona of these people. That means look at and identifying patterns and grouping them accordingly. Creating your primary audience persona is a great place to start. And once you have those details, you can start to target those people. Another useful tip is to send out a survey to all of your current customers to gather information about how they found you. Is your charity's cause a big interest or personal factor in their life? Do they know someone your charity is supporting? Would they get involved in volunteering events? What social medias do they use? And so on. But doing this, you will gather a vast amount of useful information that you can use to help define your objectives, goals, KPIs, and will determine your design elements and audience segmentation. Another task is to check out your competition. These are charities that are doing similar work to you or supporting the same cause. Have a look at all of their social media channels and note their method of branding, what their unique selling point is, what do they focus on the most, who are they targeting, and are they successful? It's also very useful to have a look back to when they first started their online channels, seeing how they started their engagement and if they've become more successful through a change of branding or strategy. Essentially, it's kind of like learning from others' journeys, but it gives you a great starting point of what to concentrate on and what to avoid. I do want to point out that audience personas change as your organization and goals change. As you grow your charity, pattern and behaviors of people change anyway, so it's important to go back and readjust them every couple of years. But that's not something you need to worry about now. You will know when you need to make changes in your organization to keep up to date and continue being relevant. So, looking at audience segmentation now, a segment is a group of people with similar needs who are part of your whole market. By dividing your whole market up into segments of people who you think are important for your organization, means you'll be able to market and reach them more effectively. Often, an organization will end up with too many segments or audiences, but it's about choosing which ones to prioritize. Like I said, you can't expect to reach all 7 billion people in the world, and the same for the 68 million people who live just in the UK. Without segmenting your audience, you will end up trying to meet everyone's needs and end up with a generalized, low quality content that meets no one's needs very well. Doing this step will ensure you meet the needs of your customers better through specializing and increasing your expertise to suit their needs better, meaning your work will be of higher quality to them. Your supporters will quickly appreciate you applying and raising resources more effectively, and be assured that you are being thorough about satisfying your customers as well as being as cost effective as possible. So let's have a look at what you can include in your audience segmentation. Starting with demographics. This is grouping people by their age, gender, occupation, family, income, social class, religion, and education. Psychographic data is how people think and what they aspire their life to be. So this includes looking at personality, lifestyle, social status again, activities, interests, opinions, attitudes, and values. You want to ask yourself, in general, what personality would your prospective customer have? It is an extension of behavioral segmentation and offers options to concentrate on attitudes or opinions as well. Which brings us to behavioral segmentation, which is sorting and grouping your customers based on the behaviors they exhibit. These behaviors include types of products and content they consume and their pattern of their interactions with an app, website, or social media channel. You must consider when users become customers, how they use your page or website, how frequently they visit your channel, and how long they use it. This means acquisition, user journey, engagement, and retention are all important factors to keep in mind when analyzing your customers' behavior. Looking at geographic segmentation, it is dividing a market up based on area, looking at cities, countries, counties, regions, international regions perhaps, as well as breaking it down further into rural, sub-rural and urban areas. Marketing segmentation. This is important. We'll look at 5 marketing segments quickly because they are very helpful. As donations are classified as unsought goods, it means people will not deliberately seek out charities donate to, if I can get my words out. This is why it's important that you properly segment your audiences so you can market directly to those people so they don't have to go to you looking for you. How often are you sat on your phone and the first thought to pop into your head is that you must visit a charity's website to donate money to their cause? It's going to be a rarity that occurs often. That's why, as a charity, you need to be proactive in your marketing tactics and employ direct marketing techniques. Already organized customers are not impulsive in terms of charity donations. They prefer to donate to a few charities of their choice, usually on a regular basis. They will choose their charities based on their exposure to the organization and a need for the charity, either for themselves or family and friends. These customers are highly brand loyal and are unresponsive when directly marketed to by other charities. Now, looking at the big fish, those consist of wealthy individuals or corporate executives. They are a common target for charities because they have larger amounts of money to spare. They often have a more personalized experience of charity selling as they are often targeted directly through conferences, seminars, networking, and one-to-one chats. Because they are targeted often, they are more likely to transition to the already organized group of people as it becomes easier for them to put donations in place. A great way to build on this is to target companies directly, and then they get the credit of being affiliated with you, as well as posting about your charity on their channels and to their customer base. The socially aware consumer group are more thoughtful contributors to charity, yet still impulsive. They are more likely to respond to the merits of the charity than being bombarded with high pressure selling tactics. They're usually persuadable and look for charities that have benefits aligned with their own personal values, as well as lean admin costs, meaning most of the funds go to the end user. Not today, thanks, a group of people who don't generally donate. This is more to do with financial restrictions or their personal view of charities in general. They're unresponsive to any marketing efforts. And lastly, the OK as you ask nicely group. This is made up of people who don't want to donate, but they are quite passive and compliant people. When asked directly, they have difficulty saying no and will usually make a small donation. They're usually consistent with giving, but are usually reached through face-to-face interaction, such as being approached on the street or in a social situation. So you can get data points from enough people to build a profile of your most engaged customers. With that, you can choose the right social media platforms to use, create better marketing material, and grow your subscriber base more quickly. There are 2 main methods for gathering this data: analytics and manual gathering, which I will go into more detail shortly. I found a free copy of a buyer persona template for you all, which will get emailed out to all of you. This is not my work. It's something that I found available online free from HubSpot. So after creating your audience segmentations, how do you reach them? You're going to want to look at what channels are available to you and what channels your audience personas use. I'll cover this in a couple of slides' time, but this is an integrated step when trying to determine your audience. So looking at branding and positioning now. It's quite common for charity organisations to not consider branding as an essential part of the process. It's more often seen as a commercial entity, but branding is a big part of of building your organisation. Branding is your identity. It's how you define yourself to your target audience, building an affinity that turns your customers into loyal advocates. Branding allows you to control how people see your organization. What does branding consist of? Branding doesn't mean hiding the fact you are run by humans. Instead, it's a chance for you to give volume to your message and an opportunity for you to stand out. Powerful branding starts with characteristics of a logo, website, name, tone of voice. Branding your organization correctly will increase your opportunities for fundraising, spread awareness, and increase trust in your charity. Logos and branding colors, emotions, and uniqueness. One of the first things people come into contact with when searching for a charity is the logo. A logo should be practical, graphic, distinctive, and appropriate. Its main purpose is to be immediately recognizable, inspiring trust, loyalty, and admiration. Logo creation takes creativity and time. It's a common misconception that a logo needs to be fancy, but the simplest of logos are the ones we can remember and identify at the drop of a hat. Just as an example, if asked to, I bet every one of you could draw the McDonald's logo, the Nike logo, or even the WWF logo. They're simple, memorable, timeless, versatile, and appropriate for their industry and audience, and have become globally recognizable. A logo is also the first opportunity to invoke emotion in your audience. There's such a thing called color psychology, which I've acquired a free guide from CoSchedule to pass on to you. It is the science behind colors and what emotions they represent. A slogan is also a great way for a user to remember you. If it is short and catchy, then it's more likely they remember it. And when they hear it again, they will make the association to your charity. Check out your competitors to see if they have a slogan and if it's recognizable. Slogans like charity begins at home, don't turn away, give today, and be the change. They're all really good slogans. So what's your USP? A USP is a unique selling point. Have you determined your USP yet? It's a unique selling point for your organization that sets you apart from your competitors. It's a clear statement that describes the benefits you offer and how to solve your customers' needs. It's usually made aware through the use of a slogan. But your USP should be on your website, social medias, and all other marketing channels. When creating a USP, you want to ask yourself, who is my target audience? Who are my competitors? What problems do my target audience have and how can I solve them? You should check what your competition is up to build a competitor analysis when constructing your USP. Check to see what keywords appear on their website, what words are they using on their pages, on their titles, and what messaging are they using on their social media accounts. What is your promise and how will you show this? Does your organization have a promise? Are you promising to help underprivileged children? Are you promising to curb global warming? Or are you promising to help find a cure to an illness or disease? When you make a promise, you want to keep your audience up to date on where you are with your promise as often as possible. If there are new trial treatments coming out or a new wonder drug to help the cause you're raising for, it's a high priority to share this news on all of your media channels. This shows that you're keeping your promise and funds raised are going towards the things that matter. This will increase the trust and loyalty of your organization and brand and will convert your audience into loyal followers. It also allows followers to share this information on their own social media channels, meaning you've gained extra views and potential customers. You want to be as consistent with your approach as possible, so people know what to expect from you. If you're erratic with your posting techniques or the information you post, it can make your brand incohesive and confusing. Consistency is key. That's not to say that you can only ever post the same kind of content and focus, but it means have a plan for what you post, what content you're sending out, and what topics you want your community to think about. You want to stay up to date with your competition, what's going on in your industry, and the cause you're raising for. Any news, regulations, or laws that impacts your industries at all times. I would suggest setting up alert systems such as Google Alerts and on your social medias to keep your finger on the pulse. Set up for alerts for keywords and campaigns. You'll then get an alert when these topics are talked about online. This is information you can use to gauge what your competitors are up to and what they are currently working on. You can use this information to plan a campaign, highlight on your media channels, and it also helps to show you are a thought leader in your industry. Over the next 5 minutes, I want you to go onto your search engine, Google, Bing, Explorer, and type in key terms to do with your charities. The results that pop up will be your competition. Make a list of the competition of these organizations, their logos, their USP, and try to determine what sets you apart from them. You have to be quite creative to come up with a selling factor different to what everyone is already doing, but it do amazing things for your branding and positioning of your organization. Everything you make a note of is a starting point for your brand, and you'll be able to start building upon this. So if you want to take that 5 minutes now, just to go online, type in the keywords to do with your charities, and make a note of all of the charity organisations that pop up. These will be your competition.
And what, sorry, Kelly, what do we do after we search for keywords, and then what are we doing?
Right, so search for keywords and then take a look at any of the organizations and charities that have come up. Make a note of who they are. Then have a look at their logo. Have a look at their unique selling point and a slogan, and just generally just have a look at it really. And it's just so you've started making a list basically of who your competitors are. From then, when you leave this presentation, you've already got a starting point.
And there's a question from somebody, Liz, that says, what if we already know about similar organisations?
If you already know, then I mean, if you want to do this exercise, then join in, and if not, then you've already got a list. Unfortunately, I don't know how far along each of your charities are, whether you're brand new starting out or whether you're a couple of years old already. So apologies for if I do have anything in here that's a little bit boring and mundane to you, if it's sort of something you've already done. But I just wanted to make sure that I kind of covered everything, and that when you leave this presentation, you've got some starting points that you can go and focus on.
So, for example, I mean, I'm from Voluntary Action Camden. I could have a look at Voluntary Action Islington, our competitors, and see how they compare.
Yeah, you can.
That's our
Yeah,
partners.
you can have a look at any other voluntary actions around London. Have a look to see if they do have a slogan, or they have a particular method of branding. Have a look at their websites. Does it immediately draw you in, or do you feel that it's lacking a little bit? Just it's really just looking at your competition and trying to determine what has worked really well for them and what maybe they could improve on. And that's then an opportunity for you to take forward in your charity. So, like I said, this is just a little exercise for you to just start getting involved and maybe discover some charities that you haven't come across yet.
Is this a good point, maybe also just to check if there's any questions on what you've covered so far, if people either want to put them in the chat box or just unmute yourself and shout out?
Yeah, I think we still haven't, or now it's time to bring up again the question that Liz had earlier about whether this is relevant for small charities. In other words, if you're a single person charity, how do you approach it? But I think you want that with your SMART thing, which is you have to set your.
Yes. So really, realistically, there's not really any difference. A charity is a charity, and either you've got a team of 100 behind you or you've got just yourself. It's really then up to you how much effort you will put into your charity, into your social medias and your marketing. And I know that that's, you know, if you are a single person charity, I empathize with you, because, you know, I've done my company solo for 4 years, and it did drain me. So I would suggest at some point looking for volunteers that can help.
I think
Hiya,
Liz just
can I?
Liz.
Oh,
Oh no, go on. Sorry.
no, I was just going to say, can I ask a question? Because I work for Camden Adult Community Learning, and we're not really a charity, but we offer free courses to the community in Camden, and our audience are a very hard to reach audience.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've recently, like, I think just at the end of last year, started up an Instagram page for us, and just trying to get in touch with our audience. It's just been very hard because they're not really on social media as such, but it's more being in touch with organizations who are in touch with our audience, if that makes sense. But only recently have Camden Council allowed me to have a Facebook page for our service, because most of our learners use Facebook more than Instagram. But I still don't know how I go about trying to attract them and communicate with them, because they must be on social media in some way.
Yes, there's a high likelihood that they will be on social media somewhere. You just need to pinpoint sort of really what are their interests, what are they going to be interacting with on their social medias, what kind of content do they sort of enjoy looking at and responding to. We're just about to cover sort of the social media aspect of it. I would suggest that if you're finding it difficult to reach your audience via social media, then try and come up with other ways of reaching them. Unfortunately now, you know, with the whole lockdown situation, we can't really do much physical interacting. But once that sort of starts up again, potentially doing sort of an event in your area, doing more hard advertising in your area as well, so posters and sort of stuff like that. Social media is not the only way to target people. You know, advertising has been going on for a very, very, very long time. It's just social media has come out within the last 15 years and has just allowed businesses, charities to just engage and have a higher reach of their audience. So I've got my details at the end of this slide. So if you did want to give me an email or whatever afterwards, and we can have a little chat a bit more about it.
Amazing, that'll be great. Thank you.
No worries. So are we good to move forward?
Yes, I think just touching on Liz, I think had the question before about how it's hard to manage it when you're just a one-man band or you haven't got those resources, and that there's obviously other things that come above the priority list sometimes. So I think she was sort of trying to focus in on, you know, more around the content, what to post and the impression that you need to make, which I think you'll be covering in a sec, will you, Kelly?
Yeah, I'll be going over that in the next couple of slides. So but yeah, if you are a one-woman show, then prioritize and make a list of what is most important to you, what is most important to you for your charity, and for how much spare time do you really have? You need to look after yourself as well. You can't put all of your effort into doing the charity, it will burn you out. So you need to get a balance of sort of work life and relaxing, obviously. But like I said, trying to look for volunteers surrounding sort of this sector is probably a really good bet for you. Right, so let's move forward. So marketing channels. What is a marketing channel? Well, a marketing channel is a channel that you can use to market your organization. This can be pay-per-click marketing, social media, email marketing, your website, applications, content marketing, and word of mouth. These are all important methods of reaching your audience and continuing to spread the message about your organization. Your website is your organization's home, effectively. It's where users come when they're interested in learning more about your charity. But unfortunately, today people are a little bit, so if they don't find the information and the answers to the questions that they're looking for, they unfortunately won't stick around for long. So your website needs to make a good first impression, and it should clearly represent your beliefs, brand, and values in the way you want. I suggest going through your website pages and deciding how user-friendly it is. If it's difficult to navigate or find information, then it's unlikely you will get much success from it. Your user journey should be at the front of your mind when designing any element that involves engagement from your customers. So this includes all of, getting your content out on social media and that as well. A quick survey can help you to determine how people really feel about your website, as well as your website analytics to show you where people engage most with your site and where on the site doesn't get much engagement and needs more focus and optimization. Even asking a few trusted people close to you to take a look and feedback is a great way of getting a quick idea of how users feel about your site. Always remember that you know what you're explaining and talking about, but to others reading it, it could make little to no sense, and if it isn't written with the user in mind, it gets difficult. Looking at email marketing, it's the best method of direct response marketing there is. Users have opted in to hearing from you about your cause, so they're more willing to open your messages to learn about your new campaigns or fundraising events coming up. Your email should be personalized as possible with a combined use of triggered autoresponders and segmentation practices to make the emails as relevant to your readers as possible. So autoresponders are a series of emails that are already set up and ready to send out and focus on specific topics delivered in a predetermined sequence at planned intervals. Such as when you're a new customer and you sign up, you get a welcome email followed by promotional emails. Or when you leave a website and you then receive an email saying that you've left items in your basket, reminding you not to forget to buy the stuff that you want. It's all relevant to the user and builds trust and requires a small effort on your part other than originally setting up the emails. You'll probably need to experiment to arrive at the right balance of educational and promotional content. The general formula is repeated touches and visits equals familiarity equals trust equals donations. Make sure you keep all your emails short and sweet so the user doesn't lose interest before finishing reading the email. Now, looking at our social medias, let's hope you're all listening. They are a key player in marketing, in the marketing world nowadays, especially now that we're locked up inside. Social media has become our way of socializing and keeping us up to date on what's going on in the world. Customers are actively seeking out brands they like or are interested in and following them for everyday content. Social media also offers valuable community building opportunities that you won't find elsewhere. You want to focus on relationships, not sales. If they wanted selling too, they would go to your website. But social media is a chance for your customers to get to know you. It is a place where they can see you are human and that you are interested in getting to know them as the customer. Interact and engage with your followers enthusiastically and don't treat them like they're nothing more than an open wallet. Think of social media as a chance to show your transparency. Being professional, but without falling into a cookie cutter mold. Talk to them in a calm, nice, informative manner. Show behind the scenes content and tackle negative comments with grace and dignity. People will notice this and they'll trust you more for it. I'm not sure if you've seen, this has got absolutely nothing to do with charities, but have you seen Wendy's? It's kind of like a McDonald's thing. Anyway, it's in America. They basically their approach to their marketing is they do quite sassy digs at their competition, which everyone finds hilarious, and it's massively elevated them just because of that one thing that they've done, implemented. So don't be afraid to do something different to what everyone else is doing. Posting consistently is a big thing on social media, and it's harder to do if you're on every platform available. I'd recommend starting with the platforms that that will benefit your charity and start from there. You can always scale up later on, but trying to start with all socials would be a waste of your time and a lot of work. The average user 50 minutes on social media each day. I'm sure this has increased during lockdown this year, so I'll now take you through each channel and what audiences they're likely to reach. So let's have a look at Facebook. Facebook is arguably the most influential social tool for any organisation seeking to increase awareness, elite support and drive donations. Its user base is second only to Google. That's a lot of potential customers out there waiting to discover your page. Facebook also launched their dedicated pages for non-profits in 2015, meaning you can create campaigns that are tailored to fundraising and awareness raising with ease. Since then, they've added to their features for non-profits, so there are plenty of things that you can use to tailor your Facebook page to how you want it. Take a long look at all of your competitors to determine what works well and what doesn't. This could be looking at how they engage with their customers, what content they post, and how they integrate their channels. The demographics of Facebook has changed since they first rolled out worldwide, so it's important to stay up to date with what age groups use these social medias most. For Facebook, people aged 25 to 34 make up to 24.8% of users, followed by people aged 35 to 44 making up to 18.7%. There's also a higher percentage of people over 55 using Facebook rather than the younger generation of 13 to 17-year-olds. Now, looking at Instagram, it's the second most engaging network after Facebook. It has 1 billion monthly active users, 25 million business profiles, 4.2 billion posts are liked each day, and 500 million stories are made and posted each day. That's a lot of engagement. Oops, sorry, bear with me a second. I've just got lost in what I was saying. Really sorry about this, guys. Technical skills today are just completely off.
Is it Zoom, Kelly, or something else?
Oh no, sorry, it's just, my script just kind of went crazy and decided to take itself somewhere different. So just trying to find it.
Maybe you can stop sharing and share again and try.
Okay, we are here. Okay, so we're back in the room now. So that's 500 million stories are posted every day. That's a lot of engagement and a lot of time spent on Instagram, if I'm honest. Now, Instagram focuses on the visual content you post, such as pictures and videos, as well as other features including stories, going live, and the ability to receive donations. As well as being able to highlight what your charity does, it's also very useful for your brand building, creating awareness and engaging with people about the cause you're promoting. It's important to think about what type of posts and content resonate with users, such as being funny and entertaining, and utilize this to help spread the word of your charity. It has been proven that users are more likely to share content if it is humorous and informative. When you start up your Instagram charity page, a great place to start attracting followers is by inviting your Facebook followers to join. The likelihood that your Facebook followers also have Instagram account is very high, as Facebook now owns Instagram. This is also shown in the statistics where the largest user group of 7 million people in the UK are that of 25 to 34-year-olds, followed closely by ages 18 to 24 at 26% and 17.3% for a little bit for the higher age. It's also usually a higher percentage of women that use Instagram than men. So now moving on to Twitter. This is an online news social media platform that enables people to share their thoughts and have discussions. It is the third most popular social media platform with 20 million users in the UK. 45% of adults online in this country use Twitter. Twitter's unique features of allowing messages of only 280 characters means it's a great platform for posting short, punchy messages. 37% of users log in daily and over 80% of users view Twitter on their phones, so it's accessible to people throughout the day. Twitter is a chance for you to share the latest news with your followers and find out what your supporters are thinking about your cause. It's easy to post campaigns and updates about events, as well as thanking your supporters for their loyalty. Moving on to YouTube. YouTube has an amazing feature for charities. I definitely implore you to do this. It's developed alongside Google, which is their non-profit program. This is a way for your organization to tell your story through videos on the channel. You can also get access to other features such as fundraising and rallying supporters, lessons tailored for non-profits, and access to shooting and editing videos at YouTube's global creator studios. With 1 billion viewers on YouTube every month, it's another great channel for raising awareness of your charity. The great thing about YouTube videos is that they can be shared and posted to your other channels with ease. This greatly expands your supporters and exposure through great watchable content. And your posted videos aren't limited to being posted one time. If it is a promotional video to spread awareness, you could post it several times at different times of the day to maximize engagement across all of your channels. LinkedIn is primarily used for professional networking, which means its user base is highly engaged and keen to network. It's used to post relevant content for your industry and for people eager to learn from other professionals. This is going to be more for recruiting and hiring staff, as well as volunteers, and a chance for your current employees to rave about your charity and the hard work you are putting into supporting your cause. This is also an opportunity for you to engage with businesses and to build up your affiliates. Now, moving on to mobile applications. They have the potential to increase awareness, engagement, and for people to become loyal advocates. Unfortunately, 1/4 of the UK's largest non-profit organisations still don't have responsive mobile websites, which will mean that if a customer is having difficulty accessing your website, 45% of people will leave your site immediately. That's a lot of people if your website is having a day of loading slowly. Having a mobile application can help you target a younger demographic, with 72% of 18 to 25-year-olds saying they would give to charity via a mobile app if they had the option to do so. Making an app for your charity isn't essential, especially when you're trying to navigate your way through several social medias and trying to make them successful. But it is a thought for the future of your charity and innovation. Let's face it, technology is the future, and you will have to adapt to the changing behaviours of your supporters in the future. Now, looking at adverts, going to look at pay-per-click adverts. They're still a big part of advertising, and unfortunately, the saying "you can't make money without spending money" is very true. So, a PPC advertising allows you to create content, show it to relevant users, and then charge you for specific actions taken on the ad. This is a huge way of expanding your customer base and reach, and you'll find that you'll end up gaining more from your adverts than they cost. There are two dominating pay-per-click forces nowadays, with Google ads and Facebook and Instagram ads. These type of ads are most effective and best for your paid advertising. The best bit about both of these ways of sending out ads is that they also have their own analytics to go with it. So you can see how successful your ad has been, and you can compare it to other ads you've sent out, giving you all the information needed to be able to tailor your ads in the future. Google also has Google Ads grants for non-profit organizations. So you'll receive $10,000 worth of Google Ads advertising in kind every month to attract donors, raising awareness and recruiting volunteers. A super useful website to use when looking for these statistics and annually monitoring them is something called Statistica or statista.com. They have a lot of really useful, usable data for when you're planning out your strategy in social medias. Unfortunately, it is subscription required, but there are plenty of other sites out there you can use as well. How to utilize a marketing channel correctly in order to make online marketing work for your charity and translate to donations, you need a plan of action. This is where a digital strategy comes into it to build strong foundations. This includes knowing and understanding your audience and using these insights to shape your digital marketing efforts.
Kelly, can I just jump in quickly? Sorry to butt in, just conscious of the time that we've got only about 25 minutes till 4.
Right, yeah.
Sorry.
Let's see. All right, yeah, I'll skip ahead to the posting. Have a look to the content, sorry.
Hi, Kelly. I think many people are asking what's the best to post, what is to post, and what should we post, and what's the best practice of posting, and do we need to post every day, or yeah, that's mainly in the chat.
Yep, so I'm just going to cover that now.
Okay.
Looking at the content and the posting, like it says, when to post, how often to post, and sort of what to post for maximum engagement. So finding the best time to post on social media is one of the best ways to boost your engagement, drive traffic, and gain new followers and customers. You're probably hoping that I can give you a definitive time to post on social media, but unfortunately there are too many variables involved to get it spot on. Of course, every social media has its unique audience and users and followers located from different cities, countries, and time zones. So the best way to start off is by starting to post to the generic schedule and then gauge from there if you need to adjust it. Ask yourself, what time is our audience awake? What lifestyle does our audience have? How busy will our audience's social feeds be? And what is your audience in the mood for? I know these can be quite hard to answer and come up with posting a schedule, but it's definitely something worth doing and get to know your audience a little better. COVID-19 means most people are working from home now, and commuting has become a thing of the distant past. So we've now got extra time before, during, and after work. So we've become so people have become more active online. So posting schedules this year have needed to adapt to fit the new routines of our audiences. Now, these are reviewed best times to post to post due to COVID-19, but don't forget that your audiences won't necessarily stick to these time schedules. This is where you need to find your own scheduling times due to your audience behaviors. These are based on various private studies. So starting with Facebook, a study has shown that activity is higher on Facebook during each weekday and concluded that the best time to post is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. Realistically, you're going to want to get to a point where you're posting every day, at least 2 to 3 times to maximize your engagement. Moving on to Instagram, the various studies suggest the best times are to post are between 2 and 3 p.m. Weekdays, and Wednesdays 11 to 3 p.m. and Fridays 10 to 11 p.m. And apparently Thursday is the best day to post. I apologize for all of these times and days and when it's best to post and when it's not, but it's going to be something that you will come up with as you venture into the social media world. It's something that you will have to come up with yourself as posting schedule. And as I said, these are from various studies over the past year, determining sort of when people are online the most, but that may not be your target audience. So that's, like I said, it's something you will have to gauge and come up with yourself. But looking to post on your social medias every day, around 2-3 times a day to really maximize your engagement. For Twitter, it was found that the best time to post is on a Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. So as you can see, that one is definitely for the people that are the commuters, not commuting anymore, but so a website and tool called CoSchedule collated and analysed the results of 25 studies to find the best posting times of every major network and split their results by industry. For business to customer posting, the best times are 8 a.m, 1 p.m, and 9 p.m. For business to business posting, the best times are 12 to 1 p.m, 5 to 6 p.m, and 8 to 9 p.m. And for healthcare, it's 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Unfortunately, they don't have a schedule for charities, but I tried to grab the best ones that are going to be inclusive of charities. So as you can see, it's better to look at a wider section of times rather than just at best time to post. And obviously, you're going to want to post more than once a week if you want to succeed. Now, the frequency at which you should post, again, is determined by your audience, but really good practice is posting at least once a day on your social channels. If you can post more, then all the better. And this is provided that the content is useful and fits in with your overall strategy. If you're starting out in your social medias, then don't have to commit yourself. Make sure you're able to maintain a realistic and achievable posting schedule. The type of material you post will determine is determined by the nature of your charity. However, you should look at only use direct promotion in 1 out of 5 posts. This leaves 4 other posts that you can use to develop a strategy of information and useful content. You want to use them to communicate upcoming events, content about your work, relevant news, and stories within your industry, insight into how your charity spends donation money, and thanking your supporters for their donations. If you want to receive as much engagement from your audience as possible, you want to mix up your posts so they aren't all the same type. And what I mean by this is don't bombard your followers with a post of a picture after picture after picture, or only posting status updates. Let's look at what kind of posts you should use to engage with your users, encourage followers to your cause. So, content in creation. Interactive content is a type of content that requires your audience to do something other than watching or reading. This is things like running polls and surveys, hosting question and answer sessions, and asking your audience to share their stories to your page. No matter what type of interactive content you use to promote your charity, it will give you valuable insights into your current follower base. How about jumping on existing hashtag trends like Motivation Monday or Throwback Thursday? Hashtags are used to increase your organic reach by allowing the content to be followed in native searches. Or you could create your own hashtags and use them consistently in your posts. Making hashtags is a great way to encourage your loyal community to help spread the word about your cause by creating user-generated content. So that's where they are posting something or reposting something of yours, and now your post is being seen by another completely different audience that may be interested. And that's something that you haven't had to do yourself. This is what your supporters have allowed to happen by posting it onto their pages. You'd need to have a strong hashtag for your followers to start using it. An example is the British Red Cross using the Power of Kindness hashtag across multiple platforms. Now, when everyone is involved with the charity, they're more likely to add the branded hashtag to their own post, building the strength of your hashtag and positioning yourself in front of their audiences. Some other charity hashtags you could use in your post is hashtag charity, hashtag do good, hashtag fundraising, hashtag donate, hashtag charity work, and so on. A classic content engager is visuals. This can be images, videos, infographics, GIFs, and any other visuals you can post. People are 3 times more likely to engage with posts that include visuals if you're posting images. Visuals. If you're posting images, it could be of the team working hard in the office, a picture of someone the charity has helped along with their story, the winning picture of a photography competition that you've set up, a picture of volunteers, a picture of your course, your cause on course. So you can post anything as long as it's high quality picture and it's relevant to your cause and tells a story. It's the same for videos. They need to be edited and of high quality. There's no point posting a poor quality video that doesn't elevate your cause or educate your followers. They won't be interested and it will just be missed on the scrolling, the network of scrolling, basically. GIFs are really fun. Everyone loves a GIF. Use it as long as it's relevant. If you're celebrating a fundraising achievement, then a GIF of some dancing unicorns is perfect. But if you're posting about, let's say, famine, then you don't want to be posting GIFs of talking food. It's insensitive and doesn't add anything to your message about famine. It actually detracts from your message and might land you with some negative comments. Again, another thing, people go crazy for statistics. So why not show this through the use of infographics? It's a visual that people are more likely to respond to and repost. It's also a great way to get people to comment on your post and have a discussion. Nothing's more interactive than a game, so why not come up with some game-like posts to get people engaged, such as fill in the blank. Get users to respond in the comments and like and respond to your favorite, and then you can comment and like and respond to your favorite answers. So you're engaging with your community then. And similar to that, why not ask the audience a question and get their opinion on a subject to do with your cause? One of the best free tools I've come across is an app called Canva. I've been using this for years. I've used it for logos. I've used it for posters. I've used it for social media content. Literally, it's such a good tool. It's free. And they have lots of designing templates that you can use, readily use, so you don't have to come up with your own template for things. I would suggest that you do, because it will help build your brand. But when you're starting out, there are plenty of design templates that can help inspire you. It massively helps with your organization branding. There's lots of free templates to choose from, like I said. If you haven't used it before, download it or go to their website and have a little look. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. And another great feature, you can save your work with a clear background, which is perfect for designing smaller elements for a larger project and designing logos. Things like oh, now I've forgotten of it, but like paint kind of thing. But anyway, it takes out the background, so you don't have to do all that faffing about trying to cut out your picture and whatever itself. So now looking at executing your campaign. I'm aware that we don't have that much time left. So executing your campaign is much like organizing your business and charity strategy. You must define the goals of your campaign. You need to make sure your campaign's success is specific and actionable. So much like what we did earlier with setting goals and setting your KPIs, you're going to want to plan out like that. And that's all to allow you to make sure you hit your targets and achieve your goals and milestones. Content calendar is a really important thing. This is a written schedule of when and where you plan to publish upcoming events. So this is what someone pointed out earlier. If you're a one-woman show and you need help, content calendar is going to be your best friend here. This typically includes upcoming campaigns, status updates, planned promotional activities, partnerships, and updates to existing content. As you probably gathered from this presentation so far, there is a lot to do and manage, so organisation is key. And what's better than scheduling your activities? You can schedule in for the whole year, you can schedule in a couple of months, and you will always be able to go back on this day, right, this is what needs doing. I need to send this post out there. I need to start planning for this campaign. I need to ensure that I speak to these supporters about an upcoming fundraising event. It's a great way to make sure that you know what you're doing when you're supposed to be doing it. And a campaign planner is similar to your content calendar, but it will go into every detail about campaigning, who's involved, what work needs to be completed and by when, and what advertising social media channels are involved. I do have some templates for you for a content calendar, so that will make things a lot easier for you. Going on to engagement. Once a post has been produced and posted, you then need to take care to genuinely respond to your audience's interactions. It's suggested that social engagement is about interactions, relationships, and engagement over time. So in particular, charities can provide a customer service experience to audiences by answering questions, commenting on posts, and posting responses across video, image, and emoji formats. It's important to reply to comments on your posts or tags that you have been included in to show that you're aware and present, and show that you genuinely care about your cause and people's inputs and their support. Not only do tags and posts means your audience is interacting with you, but it's an opportunity for you to take advantage of being promoted to a new set of audience for free on their pages. If there are some posts you have been tagged in that are great posts, then don't hesitate to repost it to your page and thank your wonderful supporters, because without them, you won't succeed. It's imperative that you keep your finger on the pulse and up to date with all the industry news and necessary legislation. Having social media gives you the opportunity to educate your audience about your cause and why you're trying to make a difference. When you come across a relevant related article that links to your charity, post it. If you start any petitions, or is there a petition that correlates with your cause, post it and try and get as much traction as possible. By keeping the relationships between your supporters and you healthy, it will help to build your brand and gain you loyal supporters that will boost your reputation and attract new supporters from all over, successfully building your customer relations. Going on to managing your socials. If you're a one-woman team, you are going to want to use all this as much as possible, and not just a one-woman team. If you've got a large team behind you, still use this. It's great. So teamwork makes the dream work, one of my favorite sayings. I know, and I'm sure that you're starting to understand, it's very challenging to keep on top of all the social media accounts, as well as having to run campaigns and the charity itself. Because it can become extremely time consuming. There are some handy free tools that you can use and implement into your charity's daily running activities. The following are for managing your social media channels to help get you organized and to ensure your posting processes are efficient and you're not wasting time swapping from channel to channel. So we have Hootsuite, Buffer, CoSchedule, Sprout Social, Sendable, Feedly, Loomly, TweetDeck. There are so many applications out there for managing posts, managing your schedule, and for tracking analytics. They're very simple to use, and once you decide upon an application, I mean, my phone is full of these type of apps, content creating apps, managing apps, you name it. My phone's full of it. So that's where you're going to want to try and get yourself to a point where you are constantly using these apps, so you know whereabouts you are in your charity activities. I won't go into detail about them now, but go online, check them out, and you'll find the best tool that you connect with the best. For more options of free tools and apps, I suggest you go online or on your phone app store and type in free tools for ... content creating, social media management, analytics, whatever you're looking for, there's a very high chance that you will find a tool out there for free that will help you. So tracking the success, what is analytics? We are nearly done, don't worry. If you've never used it before, it looks really complicated, but once you have an understanding of what they are and how useful they are to the running of a successful business, then you'll learn quite quickly. Analytics is just an extension of business performance management, which is itself the capturing of data and measurements of people's behavior and processes within the business ecosystem. Sorry, it's my front doorbell. Effectively, it's for you as a business or non-profit to analyze your efforts and your work and determine whether you're being successful with your processes or whether you need to change anything that you're doing to make your work even more purposeful and successful. This is a real opportunity for you to look at what is working well for your charity and what isn't, and God, getting over myself, and concentrate on changing the things that you need to be, that need to be altered, so you aren't wasting your time. Behavior is a funny thing, and the single best predictor of future behavior is to look at past behavior. Analytic tries to use the assumptions to better predict the future of outcomes that are relevant to your charity. So what are the most important things to track when dealing with analytics? You want to focus your attention on your audience and how they engage with your social media and website. Look out for and keep track of audience location, audience engagement, mobile traffic behavior, traffic sources, social media traffic, site content trends, page bounce rates, site search behavior, events, conversion goals, landing pages, exit pages. There's so many things that you can track. And honestly, the best way to deal with it is go onto your analytics and just have a look, play around with it. You will be able to build up a picture of whether what you are doing is benefiting your charity or whether there's stuff that you need to change to elevate your charity more. So tracking isn't enough. If you want a successful website and social channels, it's critical that you measure and learn from your analytics. So keep a record of how your analytics is changing over time. So, 5 years down the line, looking back to day one and looking at sort of the progress that you've made over that time, that will be really, really helpful for you. And that will give you a lot of confidence and a boost. It shows that you can do it. Additionally, each implemented strategy should be tackled, should be tracked, and its results analysed so that any future efforts take into account these newly learned lessons. As humans, we're constantly trying to better ourselves, and effectively, analytics is just that, a tool that allows us to learn from unsuccessful attempts. Like it says, failed posts are opportunities to learn and adapt. So looking at channel analytics, nowadays your social media channels will have their own analytic tools built in, which makes things so much easier because you don't have to faff around with going off to other different analytic softwares. It's all in one place. You can quite clearly see how your posts are doing. You want to look at your post engagements, your channel engagements, your amplification rates, your applause rate, your engagement rates, sharing rates, conversion rates, click-through rates. Again, there's just so many, but going on there and having a look, it will make so much more sense than me just babbling about it now. So there's so many things that you can track and tailor to your charity's needs, demonstrating the relative effectiveness of your social media efforts will go a long way in improving its value to the business. Analytics will come more simpler the more you use your channels and track your progress, and you'll know what you're looking out for. It just be so much easier. So on to optimization. From collecting your data's analytics, you can now optimize your results. This involves comparing your data and your efforts over this period. Look closely at the analytics that are most important to you and reevaluate what processes need changing. Are your supporters engaging with your posts? Are they interested in what you're sharing and posting? Is there anything you can do differently to boost donations and exposure? Are your posts reaching out your target audience? Are your posts consistent with your branding and messaging? At this point, I advise doing a SWOT analysis to determine your strengths and weaknesses within your charity process. So what are we good at? What can we do better? How can we grow, change and improve? What is happening both internally and externally that might affect us negatively? These are all questions that need to be asked on a monthly basis to ensure that you're doing what's necessary and producing the intended results. Otherwise, you'll get into a routine of doing the same processes and you'll never better yourself or establish your charity as the thought leader. You should always be looking to improve at least one element every quarter. And in doing so, you'll notice a difference to your engagement success. So now I'm going to hand over to my sister, Emma. Just quickly, these both I made a logo for her businesses. I both made these on Canva. So that's just how great Canva is. You know, it took me no time at all. It took me about an hour to come up with 2 different logos. So anyway, Emma, I will be handing over to you now. Hi everyone. So my name's Emma, Caddy's sister. I'm the founder of My Trauma Therapy and the really popular support group, Victims of Narcissistic Abuse Support Group. How I came about being the founder of these 2 platforms were I was a victim of narcissistic abuse for 3.5 years. And it got to a point where I tried to commit suicide and there was pretty much no way out apart from get on a plane and go to the other side of the world. So being in a narcissistic relationship, it's quite, not many people really know about it. And I decided I didn't really have many people to talk to. So I created my own support group where anyone from around the world can come along and become part of the group. And it just, it started out merely for myself, for me to reach out and be support and to get support from other people and to help people that were in a narcissistic relationship, and to let other people know that there is such a thing as narcissistic abuse. When I went to Australia, I studied as a counsellor. So I'm now a qualified counsellor and I specialise in helping victims of narcissistic abuse. So the support group was really my first platform. And I did this straight away as soon as I got to Australia. So that was about 1.5 years ago. As I said, it was really just for myself and to meet other people. I didn't realise how much impact this group would have and how much engagement I would have from people all around the world. So Kelly's just given me some bullet points to go from. So I looked into Facebook and I thought, how can I make a support group which was safe and secure? Because I didn't want anyone just attending. Being a victim of abuse or narcissistic abuse, you know, it's quite you're worried to talk about it first, and I had to make it secure. So I looked into different avenues in which Facebook have, so the privacy and everything like that. It's a closed group. So when someone comes in, it notifies me, and I have a look through their Facebook, and I make sure that they're okay, and then I accept them. The group is nearly up to 4,000 now. And again, it's just growing on a daily basis. I'm getting at least 150 ads a day. How I managed it is every day I was posting pictures, I was posting questions, and it was more about the engagement. So I was asking people what their experiences was, and at first it was quite slow to take off with. A lot of people weren't really engaging much with me, but I just was consistent. I was posting about 6 times a day on it, just little quotes, reminders, all very relevant to narcissistic abuse and what to look out for. I wanted to be different from other support groups. So I offer, now I'm a qualified counsellor, I hold a global Zoom call every Tuesday at 7 p.m. For all my members on the group, because there are plenty of support groups out there, but there's many people in the situation of being a victim where they don't feel like they have support. I'm finding a lot of people, especially in England at the moment, the resources are just so stretched where they're not getting the support, the counselling, or if they go on a waiting list, it's up to about 9 months. So they've just got no one to talk to. So this Zoom call is free. Anyone on the support group can go on it. And it's also a really good platform for me to advertise myself and advertise my services and my knowledge, where I then get one-to-one sessions, which I charge £60 an hour for. So this is actually my best platform because it's so niche to my market. Like everyone on this platform is a victim of narcissistic abuse and is looking for help. I mean, I have websites, I have many other different ranges of advertising, but this is one of the best mainstreams of income because it's all mine, and people look at me as the founder, and they look at me with all the answers, to be honest. So they come to me for one-to-one support. So that's been really good for the growth of my business. What worked really well was me constantly engaging with people. So if someone answered a question, I would always answer it. I was thinking, this is great, you know, I can manage this. And then my group was getting bigger and bigger. And obviously the different time zones, I've got a lot of American members on there. So people were writing stuff and asking questions and having, you know, conversations with each other when I was asleep. So when I was waking up, I was realizing I'd missed so much. And there has been cases where a few trolls have slipped through the net and have decided to target the members to attack them and, you know, make fun of their situations, which unfortunately, because I was asleep, I haven't seen it. So it's been visible on the page for at least like 5 hours. And I've had messages saying there's, you know, a narcissist in the group, there's a troll, this group's not safe. And I just didn't know what to do really, because I thought I've got to sleep at some point. So that's when I thought about taking on 2 other members of admin, members that have been with me from the start and I'd worked with them one-to-one, and they had transitioned through their journey of recovery. So I knew where they were within their recovery from narcissistic abuse. So one's located in America and the other one is located in island. So I had it all covered. So now I've got someone managing it when I'm asleep and also helping me within the UK time. So that was really, really helpful, because I didn't actually think about this at the beginning. We're thinking that this group is going to become so big that I just can't manage it all on my own. And now being inundated with clients daily with counselling, I'm posting less, but Kelly has shown me quite a few apparatus, and Buffer is a brilliant one because I schedule all of my postings, and Kelly does it for me a lot. And so I don't actually have to go on it. All these things just get posted for me because you can schedule them from throughout the time of the day. And it just happened. So that's really good. Administration is such a really big thing to consider, because I was spending hours on it a day. Like, I could spend all day on my group because my group is different from the others. I do stand out. I'm because of my knowledge, a lot of people are coming to me because they've actually been recommended to the group, because they're getting really relevant and up-to-date knowledge on narcissistic abuse, and it's helping so many people. Like, I've got so many comments saying, without this group I wouldn't know what to do. This group has saved my life. Like, so many things that have made such an impact on just to have something there, because being in a abusive relationship, not many people want to talk to people that they know, because they'll have an opinion. Where if someone's talking to someone who they've never met before online, it's a lot easier to be open and honest. Ensuring you have the right audience. So obviously my group is called Victims of Narcissistic Abuse Support Group. So I made it very clear what the name of the group was. So the right audience and the right people could find it easily. So I think that's about it. I hope that helped. I am a bit rushed because I know that of the time, but yes, Kelly has really helped with the growth of this group and coming up with lots of ideas. So I would definitely recommend her services.
Thank you. Thanks so much for sort of bringing the presentation to life. It's obviously been a challenging thing to sort of deal with, and it's really interesting to see how you've managed to go about doing that. And Kelly, thank you so much for your time as well. There's so much to go through. Do you want to just take us through the last slide very quickly?
Yeah, so just to sum up, the main processes to focus on. So you want to clearly define your clearly define your goals, objectives, and your unique selling points, and ensure they are achievable. Make sure your audience knows your goals too, so they have an understanding of what you're doing as a charity to help your cause. Define your audience and make sure you split your audience into personas so you can target them directly. Remember, your audience may have in common the fact that they want to help your cause, but their personalities and interests otherwise could be completely different, so you can't target them all at once. Decide what social media channels are best for your charities, and don't be afraid to start off with only one social channel. Just remember to integrate your socials across your email marketing and your website. That will help to gain more exposure. To create content for your audiences that they will engage with, and make sure you have a nice variety of content types such as stories, videos, images, news articles, games, and so on. This is an opportunity for you to get creative and have fun, really. And again, use your analytics to determine whether your what you're putting out there to them is working or not. So collect your analytical data and analyze where you're doing well and where you may need to change tactics. It's worth doing so you're not wasting your time, and you'll see the benefit in the growth of your charity supporters over time. Optimize your results, your data results, to keep building your charity and to ensure you are staying relevant to your audience. And most importantly, never stop believing in the work you're doing and the difference your hard work is making. You're all amazing people for the work that you are doing, and I hope to see your charities on social media soon, gaining attention. And just quickly before we finish, COVID this year has turned everyone's lives upside down. And now more than ever, we've seen that people are looking for a sense of purpose, wanting to be a part of something that matters and that they can make a difference with. So they are crying out to be a part of charities' causes nowadays. Just quickly, what to do now. I want you to go away and research online your competition. Also have a look at the leading charities' websites and their social media channels. Evaluate their posts and their branding, and think of a way that you can stand out from them. You'll be able to get a much better understanding of how to post, when to post, and your media tactics through looking at your competition as well. So thank you all very much for listening. I'm sorry this presentation was a bit all over the place and I can barely get my words out today. But I hope you've all learnt something at least and take away from today's workshop. I wish you all the best of luck. And if any of you need any extra help, feel free to email me on my email address there, and I'll try and help you as much as I can.
Thanks so much, Kelly. It's such a lot to go into, and I think these introduction sessions always try and pack in so much, so it can feel quite overwhelming, or that you haven't necessarily covered the thing that you came here to think that you were going to cover. So it's very difficult when it's such a broad spectrum of people and such a huge subject to cover. So I think, Kelly, you've done really well to cram all of that in a couple of hours. Obviously, we didn't get that much time for questions and answers, so do follow up with either Marta, Mira, myself or Kelly as well. And when we send the evaluation forms out, they're really helpful for how we plan the future sessions, particularly follow-up sessions. I think some people were asking in the chat window about sort of more basic stuff around what's the difference between posts and stories and things like that. So that could form a session of itself, potentially, how to set up a Facebook page or how to do Instagram or whatever. So just let us know, and we'll take that into consideration. But yeah, thank you all for coming, and more importantly to Kelly for doing this for us, and VAI for coordinating the workshop.
Thank you, Kelly, once again.
Great. Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you all for having me.
Yeah. And I hope everyone learned something from today.
All of you who have attended today. So
yes, and we'll send the slides and everything else out shortly. The notes, you mentioned a few bits and pieces, Kelly, didn't you? So
I've got a few templates and stuff that you're all welcome to. So we'll get them sent out in the email as well.
Yes, thank you, Kelly.
Brilliant.
Have
and
a lovely,
like I said, feel free to email if you do have any more questions, if you didn't have them answered. But yes,
do you give one to
enjoy your
sometimes?
Thanks everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you. Okay. Have a nice evening. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.